Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
So, we will now discuss about audio-visual materials. So, these are the contents. First, disadvantages of visual materials in teaching. Second, ways to use audio and support learning. Third, ways to use videos and support learning. Fourth, programs to create, edit, and publish. Fifth, sample for elementary school children. And lastly, 3 steps in producing audio. So, what is audio-visual materials? It possessing both sound and visual components, communication using sound and lighting equipment that convey information to your audience, heightening awareness your audience's sight and hearing, activity in libraries, especially school and public libraries. It is important in educational environment and lastly are available. So here are the examples of audiovisual materials. First is the slide tape presentations. Films. Second. Third is the television. And lastly the conferencing. So next is audio materials. It is a form of media communication. It uses audio or voice recording as a medium in delivery of information, materials or sound that are transmitted. Sound used for communication, information, and entertainment. The materials are light and usually portable. And lastly, materials. Here are the examples of audio materials. First is the audio cassette tape. Second, audio cartridges. Third, audio disc. And lastly, the sound recorder. So what is visual materials? Cover the whole range of non-text and non-audio. Everything from original art, prints, photographs, and films. It encompasses a wide range of forms, including photographs, video films, videotapes, and painting. Some can be categorized as fine art, others as documentary record, and lastly reproducible. So here are the examples of visual materials. First is the photographs. Second, a video films. Third is the videotape. And lastly, the painting. So next is audio. So what is audio? Sound, especially when recorded, transmitted, or reproduced, can be used to enhance multimedia applications. There are some audio which useful such as cassette, microcassette, phonographs, record, CDs, recorded and reproduced including voice and music related to humanly audible sound and lastly sound for. Here are the examples of audio. First is cassette, second is microcassette, third is phonograph record, and lastly the CDs. So next is video. So what is video? A recording of moving visual images made by digitally or on videotape, a digital recording of an image. Transmission or reception of the television image, aesthetically pleasing when they achieve their purpose to record by means of videotape. See, so here are the examples of videos. First is the videotape. Second is the camera. Third is the tripod. And lastly, the lavalier mic. So here are the functions of audiovisual materials. First is reduce verbalism. Second, make learning permanently. Third, add interest and involvement. Fourth, stimulate and self activities. And lastly, which third functions of audiovisual matter is reduce verbalism. So it supply a complete basis for conceptual thinking. They give rise to meaningful associations. Words are wonderful, reproduced, stored, and transported. The problem of verbalism can reduce verbalism, concentration forms of expression rather than content, areas of teaching, learning, research, and entertainment. And lastly, second functions of audiovisual material is make learning permanently. The learning experience profoundly influences the performance. Audiovisual material give vividness to the learning situation, offer in terms of vividness and impressions, qualitative rich audiovisual materials experience help people on their journey through learning. Students can learn through experiences. And lastly, students understand the third function of audiovisual material is had interest and involvement. So it provides proper environment for capturing, sustaining the attention and of interest, ensures the involvement in teaching and learning. Interest is a part of audiovisual material. Interest of students in the classroom works through factor in any process of teaching. And lastly, interest. Third functions in audiovisual material is stimulate self-activity. So, self-activities can foster by the skillful utilization, stimulate encouragement in preventing from local community, learning outcomes for a session or module. We can stimulate our self-activity, imitate or stimulate and reinforce learning. They offer a quality of experiences. The third function of audiovisual materials is teach efficiency. So economy of time and increased vividness, more effective than an article or lecture. Teacher teach the students in meaningful learning. Teachers can learn topic or lecture clearly, assessing the students to learn and open-minded, allows you to attend to any difficulties. And lastly, they become. So here are the types of audiovisual material. First is visual media. Second is audio visual media. And lastly, audio media. So visual media. So under in visual media is poster, a large printed picture used for decoration, usually large printed sheet that often contains pictures. It is posted in a public place, promotion of an idea, product, or event, both textual and graphical elements. And lastly, maybe second is bulletin board, a website where users can post comments, a board for displaying notice, a surface intended for the posting, issued for the information of the public, information received by edition when to press, a powerful learning tools for classrooms. They so next is audiovisual media. So under in audiovisual media is films, light sensitive emotion for exposure in a camera, used to produce photographs or motion pictures, called moving motion picture or moving picture. It is a visual art form used to simulate experiences that communicate ideas. accompanied by sound and sensory stimulations. So, second is motion pictures videos. Remarkably effective medium in conveying drama, especially in the evocation of emotions. Art of motion pictures is exceedingly complex. A series of still photographs and film. This gives the illusion of actual and smooth a representation by means of motion pictures and lastly audio media. Under in audio media is recording. Process of recording a sound. A performance of subsequent reproduction or broadcast. A recorded broadcast or performance. Sounds or visual images has been recorded as for the purpose of preserving evidence, recorded audio that's stored on a tape, and lastly, ratio broadcast. It is a transmission of audio or sound, sometimes with related metadata by radio waves, intended to reach a wide audience, uses radio frequencies to broadcast television signals made public by means of radio or television, the distribution of audio or video content, and lastly are the guidelines for audiovisual materials in learning and teaching. First is use the audiovisual materials and equipment. Use audiovisual rooms and multimedia equipment used to convey information. Conductive learning environment. Connective learning environment to your audience. Provide are the users of audiovisual materials. So first is to challenge the attention of the pupils. Second, to stimulate the imagination and development. Third, to facilitate the understanding is to provide incentive for action. And lastly, to develop the ability to listen. So what are the advantages of using audiovisual materials in teaching? So first is every individual has a tendency to forget. Second, students can study well. Third, audiovisual aids. Fourth, visual aids grow the accurate image. Fifth, it minimizes. What are the disadvantages of using audio materials in teaching? First is an audiovisual system is expensive. Second, audiovisual system can be bulky and transport. Audiovisual presentation is time-consuming for teachers. Technical faults, especially in the power supply. And lastly, lack of facilities. What are the ways to use audio to support learning? First is brainstorming. Second is refining voice. Third, practice and revision. And lastly, self-assessment. So what are the ways to use video to support learning? First is be selective. Second, provide a mission. Third, pause to ponder. And lastly, turn on closed captions. Three steps in producing audiovisuals. So the first one is planning. The process of making plans for something. The process of thinking about the activities required to achieve a desired goal. For most activity to achieve desired results involves the creation and maintenance of plans, psychological aspect that requires conceptual skills, and lastly, so next one is the production. Action of making or manufacturing from components The process of being so manufactured, the process of producing video content, it is the equivalent of filmmaking. To manage and implement the filmmaking, to identify and appreciate realism, and lastly to reflect and lastly the publishing. It involves the development of creative thinking. Hearing and vision aspects are deployed initially. YouTube is an example of video publisher site, a website that shows streaming video content, usually has a strong focus on video content. Partner site within the Gold Display Network. And lastly, placement is programs to create, edit, and publish videos. So to create. An example for this is Audacity, open source digital audio editor. Recording application software, a willingness to take bold risks, particularly bold or daring act or statement, aggressive boldness or unmitigated effrontery, particularly with disregard for danger or rudeness, and last. So another examples of programs to create, edit, and publish videos is the headliner. It is the easiest way to create a video with captions. With headliner, you can upload a video, automatically transcribe the audio into captions, create a video simply uploading an article or an audio file. You can also upload or search for images and GIFs to be added to your video. So the purpose of